made fun of me because I moved the table over to my right so I could take notes as Todd was talking.
Cool. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Friday Mortgage Coach Mastermind. Every Friday, 9 o'clock Pacific, we're here to huddle up with the Mortgage Coach community and optimize our success. Just be more productive, more successful. Today, I am pumped. We've got Todd Duncan as our special guest. What's up, Todd?
Hey, good to be with you guys. Excited. Fridays are a good day to plug in, learn, and get jacked up for the following week. And boy, particularly during our spring buying season, it's going to be an exciting call today.
Yeah, no doubt. I don't know exactly what the stat is, but I know it's more than 50% of all production is done in quarter two and quarter three. And how you start that period of time matters. And so we're in that window. Todd is going to share some ideas and strategies to do that. We've got Todd and Jen. Todd and Jen, where are you guys at?
Hi, we're in Atlanta. We're in Atlanta at NAMBA.
Yeah, so last year we broadcast live together, side by side.
In a storage room.
In a storage room. This year we're up. We're actually in a VIP room. And so we both have an opportunity to be here and speak. Yeah. Jen's like a host. What do you call her?
MC. I'm emceeing the whole thing.
She's a big deal. That's why she's dressed nice. And I speak tomorrow. So I'm super excited to have the opportunity to share and teach. And anytime I can get on with, of course, you, Dave, but more importantly, Todd, who's been such a big mentor. I'm just super excited to be here.
Yep, we're happy. So I'm just gonna say hi when we get started here, and I'm gonna head on out and do some more introductions on stage.
Time out before you go, Jen. So first of all, that's super cool that you're the MC of the event. But I want you to tell everybody, because I love what I heard. I was asking you about the event, and you said that there's about 300-ish mortgage professionals, and then there's 100. Who are the 100 other people that you're telling about?
There's 100 students, college students from 5 different universities around Atlanta. And what we do, and this is what NAMBA is about. It's the National Association of Minority Mortgage Bankers of America. And so what they're doing is that the piece of this is to bring young people into the mortgage industry and get exposure to it, talk to all of us vendors, learn what we do, hear the speakers, get motivated. And so it's really, really wonderful because it's an opportunity for us to, get them into the business. So I just like the charity aspect of it. It's really good. And it's inspiring for us, right? Because when we get rejuvenated.
Well, I love that. Tony Thompson, who is the founder of that event. Great job, Tony. Here at Mortgage Coach, we love your event. And then anybody that's watching this and you're a leader in the mortgage industry, we need new blood into the business. And I love that, around his event, he's creating a way to bring new people into the business and do better. So Tony, great job. Jen, I'll let you get and go MC your next speaker.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Todd, great seeing you. Talk to you later.
Yep, see you guys.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
All right, so Todd Brookspan, we are gonna get as much value out of Todd Duncan as we can now over the next
Todds.
Yeah, we got the Todds, but Todd Duncan, we want to get as much value to help our community as possible over the next 50 minutes. Before we get into the content you have planned here, I know you came up with a theme for Sales Mastery this year, and I would love to, share that theme with the community and your why around that theme, because I think it's important.
Yeah. So the theme for this year's event, thanks, Dave, and thanks, Todd and Jen, but thanks, guys, for joining on a Friday morning. The theme this year is really market-centric, and what we were looking at is when you think about the market we're in, when we think about the changes that the industry is going through, what are the requirements for not only surviving but thriving? If you're the individual LO, what does that look like? If you're the individual manager helping LOs chart their path, if you're the CEO or leader, building the organization, what are the absolutes that you have to focus on? And so in our brainstorming sessions, we looked at what does high performance really look like? Well, if you're a high performer in anything, you are going to be fit, you're going to be fast, and you're going to be moving forward. And so when we started kind of building the theme out, we realized that nobody can go fast. And fast is not first to market per se, but fast is get the stuff that needs to be implemented, implement it. But you can't do that if you're not fit, if you don't have enough time in your business, if you don't have enough efficiency in your business. You can't really move fast. You're going to have drag, right? So we do them in that order, Dave. Let's get the business fit. Let's look at the top modalities that make the business operate the right way. What are the best practices in 2019 and 20 for a healthy, fit business? Forget lifestyle for a sec, because that's part of it, but what's a fit business look like? And then once the business is fit, we can speed it up. And everybody wants to speed it up in the sense that we want to provide a faster, faster approach to a great borrower experience. And we can also speed along the borrower conversations given technology today. So what does that look like? And how do we go fast in terms of aggregating, partners? How do we go fast in terms of improving our conversion? How do we go fast in improving our consumer-centric direct? What are we doing there? And then the idea is let's just jettison the past. Nothing from yesterday is going to get us to where we want to be tomorrow. And we're never going to have the days we used to have. And we are going to have the days that are coming at us. And we get to be the architect, as John Wooden said, of, what does a masterpiece look like? What does going forward look like? And too many LOs are just stuck. They're stuck in today, they're stuck in yesterday, and they're stuck in their past. So we really got to get forward as well. So fit, fast, forward, that's the theme. We're excited about it.
I love it. I love it. So mortgage coach community, tune into it. It's salesmasteryevent.com. Fit, fast, forward. Make that a theme for yourself as we roll into the year. And I've already booked my room to make sure that I'm going to, get the cool room that I try to get every year. So if you do want to get there, make sure you get your room booked. Make sure you show up there. And for those of you that have that are going, we'll start talking about that more in a few months. So let's do this. Todd, Bookspan, feel free to jump in with any questions. I definitely want you to help wrap up the call. So towards the end, Mr. Win by Noon, help make this actionable for everybody. So if you could maybe get your favorite quote or two from Todd, the action item that you think is most on point with the community. Could you be ready for that, brother?
I'll be ready. I'm dialed in. I got my notebook right here, and I have no doubt that I can. I'll have writer's cramp. Todd's going to say so many good.
Yeah, and community. Remember, our primary way to broadcast these Friday calls now is Facebook Live in our Facebook group. While we still let some of you guys come and join us on Zoom, more and more, we want to drive our Facebook group, whether it's a live experience or recorded experience. That's where we want you to get this Friday call. So Todd, I know you and I were brainstorming just like, hey, how are we going to create as much value and impact in our mutual communities? I mean, you're the leader of High Trust. I'm the leader of Mortgage Coach. And we're like, we've been killing it for years together. But how do we amplify this success? Mm-hmm. And then we were also talking about, like it's spring home buying season. What can people do over the next 30 days, over the next 60 days to win big? So I'll let you take it from here. I know you've got some slides ready to walk people through some ideas, and let's I see it. Let's rock it out.
So I want to say thanks, Dave, first of all, and Todd for letting me be on. Second thing I want to say is I am 100% guilty of over-contenting this deck. So there's much more information than we probably can really unpack. But the good news is that we will forward this as a PDF to you, Dave, and everybody will have all the strategies that we're talking about in our time together here. So, we're plugged in like you are, Dave, and certainly like the productivity group is on best practices. So we're trying to drive that. And in thinking about my own career, thinking about the interviews that we're having with our elite members specifically, and then thinking about some of the diagnostic stuff that we have, it's just interesting that much of what I'll talk about right now could generate loans tomorrow. And much of what I'm going to talk about should be regular disciplines. They should be things that we do on a fairly regular basis, if not daily. And, with that fit, fast, forward theme and win by noon and all the tools that this group hosting has, we can get some pretty serious things done. So I'm just going to jump right into this and talk about 4 strategies. I'll stop at the end of each strategy, Dave, and then we could have a little bit of interaction. We could get some, conversation going with the group, and we'll just take it from there. See where we go. How's that sound?
Sounds perfect.
Sounds good.
Love
so
it. Let's rock.
Here's buyer strategy number one, 30-day database-wide real estate and mortgage review. So what I would recommend is you can use 3 or 4 different tools to do this. You can video message your entire database. You can SurveyMonkey or Survey Gizmo with a contest option for the next 90 days, your entire database. You can slide dial database wide for a spring check-in, 30 to 90 days. We'll talk about each of these. And then you need to make all of this a daily discipline. So let's go back to the top, video messaging. You, if I were doing loans today, I would video message my entire database via email with embedded content on really just a simple 5-question survey, real estate and mortgage review, and send that out as an action item. I would like to have a conversation with you in the next couple of weeks, because we're trying to do 30-day completion of this task. Video message around maybe 4 or 5 questions. How's the mortgage working for you? And we can use the mortgage coach tools for that, obviously. How's your real estate plan going in terms of, is the house you're in good? Yes. Awesome. Any changes that you see coming in the next 3 to 5 years? Yes. Awesome. Any changes you see happening 5 years plus? Awesome. What's your long-term acquisition goal for real estate? What are some of the changes that you see coming? And sometimes you're not going to get anything, but sometimes you're going to get that buyer that might be moving up, might be buying a second home, might be even doing some investing. And so when we video message and it's embedded, what we're being told by email is that embedded video messaging has the highest open rate of any type of email that goes out. So I'm going to leave it to you guys to figure out, what questions are specific to you. But there's really 4 things probably here. When was the last time the mortgage was reviewed? Okay. What are your real estate dreams and goals for the next 3 years? And maybe with this, we could do the next 6 months, if any, the next 6 months to 3 years, 3 to 5 years, and 5 years plus. This data that you're going to be getting from that kind of interaction, and this is going to be callbacks. You can put Calendly in here so they can schedule conversations with you. You can, have that automatic scheduling done, all that type of stuff. It's a very powerful way to figure out where people are. If we drop down to SurveyMonkey or Survey Gizmo, you can literally create a digital questionnaire. And we have some people doing this right now. And the digital questionnaire would ask the same questions, but it would also have maybe a context for updating information in your database. I was with a good friend, Tom Bass, a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about how his business changed when years ago he reached out to his entire database with kind of an iGoof letter. I'm not saying we use an iGoof letter, but reached out to his entire database and wanted to update some of the the Intel contact information and things that were really important. And he put a contest together, and the contest was going to happen in a couple of weeks. And if you got all the information back to him in today's world, if you complete the SurveyMonkey questionnaire, you would qualify. And so what he did is he sent this out to the whole database. About 3/4 of the database replied. He filtered those out, sent a last chance to the remaining part of the database that didn't reply the first time, got about half of them in, and essentially got all brand new information from about 600 borrowers. And all he did for 3 months was call every single one of those borrowers. So, this is a way to aggregate next steps. And Dave, I will send to you the original annual client review that we invented with our mortgage mastermind group in the 90s. And therein lie the questions that you guys could pound into SurveyMonkey. Database-wide slide dial messaging, you can message your entire database with one message. And then the call to action is a spring check-in with 30 to 90 day action plan, anything going to be happening in the next 30 to 90 days. And then of course you want to go beyond the 90 days because this strategy is a strategy that isn't just for spring. This is a strategy that is important for all time, right? We've got to stay in touch with that database, especially as we move to a more consumer-centric market, which is the last piece is whether you do one of these, two of these, any of these, the real discipline, Dave, is we've got to stay into keeping in contact with our database. And we can use digital technology. Everything above is digital technology. SlideOut is digital, SurveyMonkey is digital, embedded video messaging and emailing is digital. And the goal here is just literally in a 30-day, maybe 60-day blast, if you got 1,000 people in your database, get some action going with 25, maybe 30, 35, 40 people. You'd be surprised how many people are thinking about doing something right now and you have no idea. So we've got to get this out, get it out fast. You can choose one of these. I wouldn't do all three. I would choose one of these, and probably the fastest would be the video message to the entire database with a call to action. So that's idea number one, and depending on the size of the database, it is about 25 actionable loans per every 1,000 people that are in your database now. Not per year, but now.
So guys, I mean, I'm going to give you two reasons to pay special note to this. And both Todd and I have been evangelizing annual reviews for as long as I can remember. And still, most loan officers don't execute this. But I was at Sales Mastery 2017. I mean, I've been at every Sales Mastery. And I had breakfast with Wally
Elibieri.
And I was asking, hey, what's your big takeaway from Sales Mastery this year? And he said, I've been hearing about annual reviews. I'm going to do it. Todd has finally convinced me. It was emotional. It was analytical. And in 2017, he closed 21 loans with his past clients. And in 2018, he implemented what Todd's talking about. He's always been using Mortgage Coach, but Mortgage Coach Total Cost Analysis is one of the pieces of technology he uses to deliver that experience. In 2018, he closed 81 past client loans. And I've interviewed him multiple times. I'm going to put a link to my last interview with Wally because I interviewed him a few weeks ago. It was we called it Wealth Team Leadership. And so guys, that's one reason you should do this. We've got success stories. Todd's got scripts. Todd's got so much content here. That's one reason to do it. And then guys, here's another reason to do it. Disruption is taking place. And I'm not going to say in the mortgage space, even though disruption is taking place in our space, but in the real estate space. There's this article I recently read really validating that the iBuyer movement and strategy, it's real. And I was actually afraid to post it because it's just so like, holy shit, that the real estate space is being disrupted and changed. It's happening. And I am going to forward this today sometimes. I just read it a couple days ago. I had dinner with Justin Tucker, the chief marketing officer for WFG. We, half our dinner was about like, what's the next 3 years look like? And so here's the deal. Real estate's getting disrupted. Realtors need your leadership, and you need to get to the buyer first. You need to make your database your number one priority. It's time to quit talking about that idea. It's not time to quit saying, I should do it, but I don't do it. It's time to get after it. So Todd, I love that this was your number one strategy. It's just so powerful. It's so important. And I hope everybody watching this call, you've probably heard Todd say something like this before. You've heard me talk about it. It's time to get after it, guys.
Yeah, listen, the video message would take you all of about 2 hours to create professionally and get an actionable email built around that. You could have that out by tomorrow afternoon if you have a media team or anybody close to you. SurveyMonkey can be constructed in about 3 hours max for a 10-question survey. So you could do that by Monday. SlideOut is as easy as having a SlideOut account, linking it up with your database. You can record a message in 60 seconds to 90 seconds. That's done. And it's so funny, Dave, that you brought up Wally, because when we look at this daily discipline piece, this piece of going consumer-centric, Wally and I, have been working together forever. He's in our elite group, and I got an email from him a couple of months ago, right before our first elite gathering, and I put it in the deck. And I call this the most powerful insurance policy ever. And in the world in which you're going to see evolve in the next 15 minutes on this deck, and certainly in the next 12 to 24 months, The bottom line is for the local lender, it's going to be the connectivity between you, the data and consumer world, and the real estate agent. Okay. And so this is the caption from the email that Wally sent me. Was just able to refer one of my realtor partners $27,000 in commissions from an annual mortgage review this morning. Thanks, Todd, for your coaching and mentorship in learning AMRs, my friend. And you look at that and you think about this, and Wally's goal is to refer, I think he said $350,000 in commissions this year to his real estate partners. So Dave, the fact that you brought up Wally's name, the fact that I had it in the deck, tells us that we both believe that this is a success strategy.
Yeah, and before we jump off of that,
yeah,
I want everybody to get the note that, like, when you listen to the interview I did with him, and then you hear what Todd just said, his number one goal is how many referrals he gets and how much commission that creates for his partners. So think about that, guys. That's like game changing. Like, if you made that your number one goal, the more you give, the more you get. I mean, that in itself is a powerful concept.
It has to be number one. It has to be number one, particularly with the consumer shift that's happening right now. And just so all of the power users in the mortgage group and just your whole idea around masterminding productivity, guys, this is the shift. If there's any shift that I'm seeing happening right now, it is the shift to consumer-centric. So here's a number for everybody. We're grooming our elite members by the end of 2020 to have 70% of their monthly fundings coming from their consumer-centric marketing. So this would be their database, the circles of influence that database represents. And I'm going to talk a little bit more as we get through this on how you can activate that right now for loans in the next 90 days. You have to make this shift.
Love this. And Todd, I can see you taking notes away. Any quick questions for Todd, or any quick key points from Mr. Bookspan before we keep going?
No, I think he's really spot on with the fact that, yeah, this is a huge opportunity, and take whatever's the path of least resistance for you. I mean, I think that always my takeaways are around disciplines, right? I mean, I feel like Todd said 5 to 10 calls a day is critical. And if we've been obviously doing the 30-10 game since your call with Wally, and I think you guys got to push yourselves. That's going to be really important. And I love the whole thing of consumer-centric, and Dave, and Todd knows it too. I mean, when I went back through Todd's training back in 2002 and put the annual mortgage review into my plan, that's how you and I became friends, Dave, because all my initial calls were all around this strategy with the mortgage coach community. So I'm digging it. I'm almost 1 page in on notes, so I'm gonna have to expand out.
Hey, and Todd, I'm glad you brought that up, because Todd Duncan, I'm gonna have to say Todd Duncan, Todd Bookspan. Todd Duncan, one of the things that came out of that call with Wally is he put the challenge out to the community to make 30 calls a day and 10 TCAs a week. And Wally just ad hoc said, and whoever does the most this month, Dave, you tell me who wins, I'm going to give them $1,000 cash. So I want to remind anybody watching this, you're live. 2 days from now, you guys are going to post your results for the month. I'm going to take the honor system on how many calls you said you made. And I don't need to take the honor system on how many TCAs you created, because we can verify that on the back end. And we will be announcing a winner on next Friday's call. So next Friday, the same time, someone's going to win $1,000. And there was a whole bunch more stuff. I know Jeremy Forcier offered a site visit. So whoever wins is going to get to spend a day with Jeremy Forcier, all kinds of other gifts, and $1,000 from Wally. So reminder to everybody, post your results next week, and we will be announcing a winner this time next week. Todd, I know you got more ideas to get to, so back to you, brother.
I have one more thing on Wally. The other thing I would just say to this entire group, since you are at mastermind level, is I would hire a full-time licensed partner to do all of your mortgage reviews every single day. And the breakthrough was when Wally was talking about how much time he takes off per year, and 20 weeks, I think, is the number that he says. And I said, so who does annual mortgage reviews while you're on vacation? He said, nobody. And I said, well, at 20 weeks, at 35 mortgage reviews per week, that's 700 mortgage reviews. At a 30% conversion, that's 210 conversions. At $3,000 a deal, that's 630 grand, Wally. You certainly could have somebody as an FTE doing this instead of you all year long. What I'm going to tell you guys right now is the bigger your database, the more powerful it'll be to have somebody on your team full-time doing this. This is an extension of your professional services, and it's a must do. All right, let's roll.
Wait, whoa. Did you hear that? This is an extension of your professional services. So, and did you hear the other thing? You need to resource. You need to have a strategy, and you need to resource for it. So, Todd, before you move on to the next one, how many mortgages under management? How big does the database need to be when resourcing it with either a part-time or a full-time staff member comes into play? What are your thoughts on how the community can figure that out?
You're asking me that?
Yeah, Todd. Oh, Todd Duncan. Duncan.
So what was the question again? How can you figure out what?
So how many loans under management, like if I've done 500 past customers, or 1,000, clearly 1,000, is a full-time staff member, but 50 past customers probably is not a full-time staff member. What is the number? How should the community think about when they're going to staff for annual reviews?
Well, it's if you're doing 5 a day and there's 200, let me just do this, 5 a day times 260 work days, it's 1,300 mortgage reviews a year. So if I have a 25% conversion on those mortgage reviews, then I'm going to get 325 consultations. You got to ask yourself, if it's 325 consultations divided by 12 months, that's 27 consultations a month. That's not a bad add-on to what you're already doing through your agent partnerships and through your regular marketing. Here's my goal. My goal would be to have you get a full-time person in this position as you see this work out. If you could do 5 a day and get through your whole database, great. But if it takes 10 a day to get through your whole database, and you can still do it, great. And I would say, 10 a day, 15, 20 minutes each, that could become your day. I believe that the time that you should have somebody full-time on this is probably with a database of successfully closed loans of about 1,000 people, and this should be a full-time job.
And I want to, for everybody on this call that you're closing like 3 to 5 loans a month, no, don't go to your manager and ask for an assistant for this.
Sure.
We're talking about loan officers that are closing 8+ loans a month,
right,
that are trying to scale through team. And success. Like if you can't get the conversion on your past customer yourself, you can't hire a teammate to do it. So we're talking about scaling on the base of success, your success, and your team's success. Todd, next one.
So here's a write-off line this morning. Most buyers use online tools as a complement to their partnership with an agent. Let me move the camera out of the way real quick here. So in fact, buyers who use online resources to find a home are significantly more likely to use an agent, 80% versus 52%. That is huge. Their preferred resources in order of popularity include online, 79%, real estate agent or broker, 74%, for sale or open house signs, 55%, etc. Millennials are more likely to use online resources, 88% compared to 79% for Gen Xers, 70% for boomers, and 51% for silent Gen. Here's the key, but the majority of buyers work with an agent, 74%, a trend that is relatively consistent across generations when finding a home. So I give that to you because this is from the Zillow 2018 Global Real Estate Report. These are the facts. This is the data. And so we have about, I think, maybe 24 months, maybe as many as 36 months to still use this tool. And then I think it's going to become probably pretty much virtual. But the strategy is, let's see here, how do I get this? There we go. So these are the stats from Zillow, and we can get down to, direct mails 21%, a home builder 31, print ad 32. And then these are the ones that matter most to a high performance group like you guys: friend, relative, neighbor. So that's the direct referral. For sale or open house, that tracks at 55%, and then the agent, broker, or online. So I want to focus on the 55, and I want to focus on reinvent your open house OS. So what is your open house operating strategy? Okay, what does that look like? What does your OS look like? And there's a couple things right now that I would do, even if you just did it between now and August, if you just really re-cranked this up, I would do this. And I believe that out of this, you could probably generate, for most of you, if you're in that 8+ range monthly and you did this the way I'm going to tell you to do it, I think you could probably generate another 8 deals a month. And so here's what it looks like in just a quick down and dirty. Go mega. And what I would do is I would make sure that every one of your agents are familiarized and partnering with you to change their open house strategy. Open houses are under advertised, they're under promoted, they're under sensationalized, they're just not what they can be, right? And so if you go to Google and just type in mega open house strategies, there's a ton of resources that come up, but the top 2 are really solid. The top 1 is video and a PDF message from Tom Ferry on how to do this. A mega open house has 3 times as many signs. It has 3 times as much social promotion. It involves the community of neighbors around that open house. The visibility and the energy around the open house is so strong that it literally attracts the community, people within 3 or 4 city streets that aren't even thinking about buying, all the way to people that are thinking about moving from one county to another. And so the way to really bring the open house thing alive is to do it big. And so we want to be looking at how do we get that going. And so I'm not going to teach you it. Just go online, type in mega open house strategy, download a couple videos, watch them today, and you'll be off to the races. The second thing that I think we need to do on the OS on open houses is we need to double capacity while increasing demand and FOMO. You guys all know that FOMO stands for fear of missing out. The problem with the traditional open house is it's for too long of a period of time and it doesn't have enough energy around it. And so why have an open house from 1 to 4 and let the same number of people come through that open house, then reinventing the strategy, taking the open house from 3 hours down to 1 hour and driving demand in that 1 hour, because there's only 1 hour that the home is going to be open. This is disruptive. This is creative. This is innovative, right? So I'm going to take, 50 people that come through an open house in 3 hours, and I'm going to condense those 50 people down to an open house that lasts an hour. Now you can think right now about what the street looks like during that 1 hour open house. You can think about what the hallways in the home look like while that open house is only an hour long. You can probably see and visualize 10 families at any one time trying to walk through bedroom doors. You can see maybe the vitality of the kind of the energy around, God, there's so many people here. And if there's a likability of that property and you're surrounded by other would-be buyers, what it does for the agent is it generates obviously increased offers and speed of offers. And what it does for you is if you're working the open house market, and this is, you can use virtual as part of this, but I'm talking about the physicality of driving people to the physical property, which is the 36-month window. I think after about 36 months, the way open houses are done is going to be completely different. But right now, FOMO is really, really critical. And then you guys have to aggregate and incubate. And one of the things that is just horrific to me, and I would suspect that even though you guys are in this group, that maybe you need to do a gut check on this, is what is the aggregation and incubation strategy around who comes to the open house? And this is where the real, I think where the real money is in the next 30 to 90 days. And you guys get to choose the tool or app. There's about 5 or 6 out there that you can equip your agents with, where we're aggregating data from buyers coming through the front door. But the bottom line is this is a strategy that would generate, if you think about it, you got 10 agents. Let's say they're each doing 2 open houses a month. You've got, that'd be 20 open houses. You got maybe 20 people coming through each open house. You got 400 people coming through open houses today based on the Zillow number. So when you think about this one right now and you go big and you reinvent the time frame down to an hour, you're going to get many, 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 many more people, which are going to result in many, 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 many more loans. And it's going to simultaneously help your agents win because they're going to sell property faster because of FOMO. So that's strategy number 2, Dave.
So So Todd, I mean, this is just so perfect between the strategies you're bringing up. They so align with the mortgage coach community. Mortgage coach community, if you haven't listened to my interview with Nicole Solari, and Todd, Nicole would be a good sales mastery speaker for consideration. Top realtor in Northern California. I think it was 198 transactions sides last year, and her number one real referral source are open houses. And part of her, everything that Todd's saying here, she's doing. Some of them aren't mega, like she's doing open houses on a Wednesday afternoon, in a, close to a school, so she's doing megas and she's doing smaller ones, but she's doing a paperless open house. And so number 3 on Todd's solution there, she's using technology to, get the buyer at the point of sale. She's using the mortgage coach total cost analysis to, deliver digital education and value to consumers. So I'm going to put a link to my interview with Nicole in here. Fantastic strategies and tactics. And just a reminder to everyone, when you think of spring home buying specials or strategies, there is just no excuse. If you're on this call and you're doing less than 60 loans a year, that means you're doing less than 5 or 6 loans a month. Boom. I mean, get after it. There's open houses every day, and we give you the playbook. Todd gives you the playbook. Go get some.
Yeah, and I think the other thing on this that I would just say is using, in your relationship with Mortgage Coach, there's a real unique selling proposition here that allows follow-up to have higher conversion, and that is mortgage strategy. I said at Mastery 2 years ago that you have to rebrand yourself as the architect of mortgage strategy. That's really, what we're seeing happen, particularly for a big population of buyers today. Every single person that's going to be buying a home should be equipped to be in the top negotiating position possible on that on that offer ultimately. And so you guys, as you use, and are embedded in the mortgage coach community, you've got a huge level up on anybody else that doesn't do that. So let's go to number 3. Number 3 is unleash the referral flywheel. Here's what's changing in the market, guys. The traditional marketing funnel is getting blown up. There actually probably isn't a funnel anymore where you can put people in and think that, you're going to have this maturation cycle. That is true. It's going to happen. You're going to have buyers that are TBDs. You're going to have, people that are 6 months out. You're going to have that. I'm not even talking about that traditional kind of funnel. What I'm talking about is unleashing this kind of flywheel. And I want you to do it with a point of sale social strategy, right? So what I've been preaching for years and years and years and years is the circle of cash flow. I even talked about this on a mortgage coach interview just before Mastery last year. But I want you to really get honest with yourself right now when you start thinking about point of sale. Point of sale is when you're meeting with a borrower and they have made a decision to use you and they are locked in. And at first stages of that relationship, you're starting to understand that what I do now can affect the referrals I get in the next 30 days. So point of sale has to include strategy around not only their social circles, but then also obviously their ecosystem. So I need to bring back to top of mind that the thing I would do every day right now to generate more loans right now is I would look at every loan you're doing right now for the next 90 days as one of the most, if not maybe the top source of referrals for you. So the circle of cash flow, what it says is, who do I know who knows who I need to know? So in the middle of that circle, if you, or those 8 circles, if you look at the middle circle, that's your buyer now. But how many buyers do they know, and where are they connected, and how can you use those connections? And maybe they're in an association, maybe they're in charge of sales for a company, maybe they're the CEO of an organization, maybe they have a small business with 10 employees. I cannot tell you, Dave, how many loans now are getting missed because we do not have a point of sale strategy to generate those referrals. And so when I think about this, I think about Marty Preston. So he has engaged this full time. He's been in our elite group now for 4 years, in his 5th year. This is a text from him, record 8 face-to-face pre-purchase consultations today. So just getting out, he and I were going to talk, but he was buried all day long with 8 consultations. 95% of Marty's business comes from the circle of cash flow. And so when you think about what does it really look like to build a mortgage practice, around having a full day around consultations, 8 borrower consultations in a day. That's what we're talking about right now. And so you have to use social strategy. And when you look at social strategy, what you have to understand is speed to conversion, speed to trust. Both of those things are faster and higher when you're using the circle of cash flow. So a couple things that could be tools for you. This is the best script to turn every loan into more referrals right now. We're going to be sending this out to you guys. My team and I spend 90% of our week making sure everything goes smoothly for families like you while financing their real estate. The only way we can afford to do that is if you introduce us to friends and family you may know who might also need financing in the next few months, and then obviously, or even years. If you've learned a lot today, so this is the post-consultation using TCA, using high trust interviewing skills, going deep on lifestyle and emotional issues as well as financial issues. If you've learned a lot today and had a great experience, we'd be grateful if you connect us with whomever you know that would also benefit from learning what we went over today and getting a custom analysis for their own situation. We're going to send you a Facebook friend request to make sure to stay in touch. We post pertinent information around interest rates, guidelines, other valuable information. It'd be good for you to see that as we proceed. This last paragraph is where the money is. If you could do us a huge favor and post something about our meeting today and tag us, this would allow your friends to contact us directly should they want to learn more about home financing. So Dave, what ends up happening is I think everybody, at least in my experience, is there's only 3% of the surveyed licensed LO industry that rates their point of sale referral strategy as effective. In other words, about 97% either don't have one or it's ineffective. And the best place right now, the best place forever for you to generate not only a ton of business now, but a ton of business long-term that feeds into that reverse commission kind of idea back to your agents is this strategy. And it's totally social. So that is important. And then I put this up. This is how Marty ends his consultation. So I'm going to give this to you. Have we answered all your initial questions and concerns professionally? Have we met your expectations for a perfect lending process? Do you feel less stressed than before? Did we show you how we could save you money? Do you feel like we have and will be able to deliver on our commitments? Do you feel 100% confidence in us and having us help you finance your new home? This is a closing technique that accelerates the amount of referrals that you can generate out of a consultation. If so, I have 2 favors to ask. Call your realtor, and he even adds from the parking lot, and let him or know the meeting and presentation was super beneficial and that you are ready to go. And then he executes this social strategy. Please let your friends know that we are different than other lenders. And then he puts the social media strategy in there. So Dave, I think this is this is like acres of diamonds. You know, it's like we have right in front of us all this business and we're on to the next loan. And so if you're doing, 20 to 30 conversations a week, maybe even a month, and you put this social strategy in place, I guarantee you for every one borrower that you have applying, within 30 days, you will probably get one more referral from that buyer subset, that buyer, co-buyer, whomever. So big deal right now. It happens fast, and it should be not only a 30-day spring buying strategy, but it should be a discipline. Back to Todd Bookspan, a daily discipline. If we're not doing this at point of sale, we should be absolutely kicked out of the business.
Yeah, well, you're going to get crushed by loan officers and mortgage professionals that are doing this. This call has just been pure gold. You gave the scripts for all of you that asked if Todd's going to be getting these slides. He will be converting them into a PDF, and we will be putting them into the group. So, 1, take a picture. 2, this is being recorded. It's available on our YouTube channel, and it will also be available in our Facebook group. Also, I interviewed Marty a few years ago on how he integrates Mortgage Coach into that client for life experience. And so I put a link to that down below in chat, the interview that I've done. But, here's the deal. Marty has been coached by Todd for years. Marty shows up at Sales Mastery. When he shows up at Sales Mastery, the guy is taking notes. He's being intentional. He's implementing this stuff at a level of excellence. So guys, all the gold is here. Todd Bookspan, I know you're taking notes. In the last couple minutes, I'm going to ask for you to give people some ways of taking everything that they've heard, everything that they've learned, and putting it in some win by noon action items. So Todd, what's number 3, buddy? Or number 4?
That means Todd Duncan. Here we go.
Todd Duncan.
So this is the biggie, and this is not only a 30-day strategy, it is a life strategy, and the industry is horrible, absolutely horrible at this. Agent face-to-face business reviews. What I would do in the next 30 days is I would schedule a face-to-face business review with every agent that you call a partner, that you have a deep desire to funnel success strategies into, and you do something that your competition simply doesn't do. And there's about 3 or 4 derivatives I'm going to run through real quick, and then I think we'll have about 10 minutes for Q&A as we kind of wrap up, Dave. But face-to-face business review is huge. So this is a stat. There's 7,700 LOs that have been interviewed by us. Do you conduct partnership planning sessions at least monthly with your referral partners? There's only 13% that say they do that. So the first gut check is, are you doing partnership planning sessions with your agents every single month? If you're not doing it every single month, then you are losing traction in the world and in the marketplace, and you're actually doing yourself and your agents a disservice. Now, we have another stat that is a little bit even deeper than this, and it's, are you in touch with them weekly around lead gen strategies? And that's only 7%. The other thing is the annual review with your partners. Okay, same kind of stat. It's 14%, not 13, but only 14% of LOs do an annual review with their referral partners. And so what I really, I guess, want you to do right now is pour some gasoline on your partnerships and light them up. Just get some stuff going right now by getting in front of, who are those key 10, who are the key 15. You haven't had a great season of reviews with them. Maybe you haven't even sat down and done any of what I'm about to talk about, but this is where the magic is. So real fast, this is the sales kind of call, if you will, development, kind of the way that High Trust teaches LOs to be super successful. I just wanted to put this up here because, Dave, the areas that matter most. So discovering where people are at, building significant value, presenting that value, securing a commitment, concluding appointments, and then having a next action are the areas that the industry is absolutely horrible in. So you can see this arrow from really what amounts to the front end of a sales call, a conversation, a meeting, whatever you'd like it to be. You can see that there's a downward trend to the effectiveness. So that those green bars are the amount of loan officers that do that piece of the thing well. So you can see right away that if I really want to be different, I want to be really good at really discovering where I can help and add value, and really building value in a way that is measurable. And the best value measure today is the economic impact you have on your clients. It's the economic impact you have on your realtors. It's the economic impact you have on your buyers. That's it. And when we get into economic impact, what we get into is lifestyle experience. And so the overall goal by being High Trust, and then obviously, integrating with Mortgage Coach, is the idea that I want to help people win financially. That's the number one thing that you should be all about. I want to help my buyers win financially. I want to help my realtors win financially. So we take this, which I spend about 8 hours on at the High Trust Sales Academy, and I've just spent 3 minutes on it here. But we take this and we go, okay, what does that look like? And we call this the white knight strategy. So what the white knight strategy is in this business review, do a scorecard with your agents. This scorecard would take you 10 minutes to complete. When the scorecard is complete and you've gone through the skill and you've had the agent rate themselves with their own score, and there's 2 pages of this, right? This is referred to often as the gap analysis. But the reason why I call it the white knight strategy is the white knight strategy is I'm coming in to give you something of value. I'm coming in to meet you where you're at and give you something of value. So I'll do this scorecard, obtaining face-to-face meetings with sellers, delivering and closing listing presentation, determining the right listing price. I mean, where do they have challenges, right? Your job is to help your realtors win economically. So one of the goals is figure out where they're not good, and then become their content partner, become their training partner, become their development partner. And the greatest risk here is stepping off having your feet in too many ecosystems and saying, I want to add as much value to 10 agents as possible. So I have this top half of the scorecard. I got this bottom half of the scorecard. I'm going to go through this. It's a 10-minute, kind of discovery, if you will. And then you can look at the agent in the face and tell them to circle the top 5. Tell them to circle the top 5 areas that they would like your assistance in. And then you go to work on creating a solution around that. I'm going to tell you right now that any single thing that any one of your agents needs based on this scorecard, whether you have the answer right now or not, the content world is so big, so fast, and so deep, you can get any answer for any agent immediately. They can get it too, but it's interesting that if you bring them the solutions that they tell you they want, you're off to the races. And where this takes us, it takes us into the lost leads conversation, which is the most important part of how you're going to add value and get buyers right now, obviously on a regular basis, but right now for spring buying season. This conversation in your face-to-face business review takes less than 5 minutes. Tom, how many deals did you close in the last year? And I can change that to the last quarter. I can change it to the last month. You should know this intel. If they're a partner, you should have this information. How many transactions did you close last year? 30. How many people did you have to talk to in order to close that volume? Usually it's about 10x on that number. So let's say it's 300. Okay. Next question. Do you think any of the other blank people used another agent? It's usually somewhere around 10-15% of that. So we'll use 270, pull 30 people out there at 10%. So there's 270 people that may have used another agent. Okay. Fourth question, what percentage of those do you think might have used you but did not? It's usually 10% of the number above. So the 270 becomes 27. The next question is, how much do you make per transaction, Bob? And Bob says 15 grand. And then you're going to come back and say, so based on the 27 and 15 grand, that means you're leaving $405,000 on the table every year. We should fix that right now. We should fix that right now. Would you like to fix that right now? Should we have a strategy around why this is happening and how we can fix this right now? This is the most powerful conversation you can have with an agent. And what it does, listen to what it does. It drives a deeper density around referrals to you, which is more loans now, right? And so if you have a conversation and this is what Wally's doing, this is part of what Wally's doing to get these kind of conversations going, and certainly what Marty's doing. And that's why I put him up here. But it's also what Cody Hardridge is doing, who's funding 400 loans a year right now, where just 5 years ago he was at 100 loans a year. He's having these conversations. And here's your first right of refusal strategy. All right. And the goal of this strategy is 100% conversation with all buyer referrals. 100% of all buyers that any agent's working with, you need to have that conversation with them. Right now, the industry average is about 17%. So 17 to 20% of all buyers a buying agent is working with, actually you're going to have a conversation with. That means there's a whole big percentage that you're not. So the question, this gets down to a weekly strategy now. So who are you showing property to this week that I have not had a pre-purchase conversation with, where we could optimize their purchase and negotiating power when making an offer? So let's say there's 10 buyers. Let's say you're talking to 2. This is going to get you the other 8. You want to get more loans right now, next 30, 60 days. You want to get more loans right now. Don't try to add more agents and spread yourself thin and call on more people. Try to get your extraction up. That's a high performance strategy. How do I extract more buyers per partner to have conversations with? And there's a host of conversations and scripts, Dave, that we put together last year with you that are within the Mortgage Coach ecosystem on how do we equip agents to refer buyers that might be approved somewhere? How do we equip agents to refer buyers where they may have a family lender relationship already? How do we do that? And if you can do this right now, you can double or triple your conversation conversion rate with buyers. And even talk to buyers who, because of your guys' level, because of Mortgage Coach, because of TCA, because of providing sound mortgage advice and financial advice, they have not had that conversation. And so there's a huge disruption, a huge differentiation. And what that does is it puts you in the driver's seat in a way that is almost undeniably unovercomable. And when you do something that their lender or even the company they're pre-approved with, or both haven't done, you're the hero. So this part of the agent piece right now is super, super, super strong. Cody said to me in a text, listen to this, look at right in the middle there. I've locked and submitted 19 purchases since yesterday at 9 a.m. A little juice for your class next week. So I'm doing a High Trust Sales Academy in Newport Beach, and this is fresh information. And when you look at that, you think about that, what would your world look like if you locked 19 purchases since yesterday? And his biggest question that he asks his agents every single week is this question right here. So that is a absolute on fire, do it now, start immediately, and get 100% extraction out of that business review, and let them know you're going to be working with them weekly to ask this question. Just on this note, how do you do this so you win by noon? If an agent and you are committed to really working together, schedule the call to the agent while you're at the business review meeting, have it happen same day, same week, at the same time, and extend that out for 90 days. Send them the invite in their presence, have them accept the invite, and now it's on your calendar, their calendar. You time block when you're going to do these calls, and now everybody wins because it is a scheduled discipline, it is a money-making activity, and it is a non-negotiable. So this one is huge, Dave.
That is unbelievable. So guys, you know, the value for today's call is mind-bending, jaw-dropping. The concept of that conversation he gave you, so that I always talk about become a conversion partner, and I always talk about how Mortgage Coach helps you become, you know, it's a tool within that. But Todd just gave you the script on how to get to have the conversation. So you're seen as a consultant, a coach, and he just gave you the script to do that. Todd, before we wrap this up, and we got about 8 more minutes, I think, I do want to make sure, has anything changed in your scripting in terms of, you know, how you position yourself as a mortgage coach? I'm looking at, you know, last year, I think you said, has your lender completed a total cost analysis, showing you multiple strategies on how you achieve your financial goal and save tens of thousands of dollars? Has anything changed in terms of the scripting that you teach your loan officers on how to train their loan officers to refer the TCA? Any nuances?
I think there's a couple of discoveries, Dave, and fundamentally, no. Fundamentally, that has not changed. It's really personal branding, number one, that's changed. And so what are you calling yourself? If you really are running a professional mortgage practice, then you cannot be, in anybody's eyes, a loan originator, right? So you've got to repackage and rebrand yourself. And one of the discoveries that has changed in the methodology around this is in our book 5 Stars, where we talk about story selling. And so one of the ways to slay your competition, I mean, literally put them out of business in any borrower conversation, is to say something like this. Most lenders will be happy to quote you a rate and send you a fee sheet. How we are different is, or how I am different is, I am a mortgage strategist. My job is to help you integrate the mortgage that you ultimately select into your long and short-term financial and investment goals and your payment, equity, cash flow, and tax objectives. That is the positioning right there. What I just said, that's the positioning. I'm a home loan strategist. Okay, I'm a home loan architect. Okay, I architect solutions to create the perfect home loan experience. Those are some of the changes that have happened, but fundamentally, the scripting has not changed, Dave. But I do think what ends up happening is you need to sit with your agents and get them equipped, because when they have DFTs or borrowers that make a promise based on another lender and they don't get into that dialogue and the deal falls apart, this is what I refer to as commission insurance. And the way you can package the extraction policy or process and get more buyer conversations and motivate your agents to die on the hill to have a buyer talk to you even though they might be approved somewhere else, is because you and that agent want to guarantee that agent's commission. And our only goal here is to be a second opinion and have that a second opinion conversation be so strong that you become the primary provider and the lender they thought they were going to use goes bye-bye.
All right, guys. So in the last minute, I'm going to share an idea on how you can get these scripts. So stay tuned for the last minute. Todd, I'm also going to give you a minute to, win by noon this. Mr. Duncan, we've given interviews, you've given ideas, and we all know that unless you implement this, unless you elevate your skills, you can't do that. And let's face it, I'm very proud of our YouTube channel and all the value we do, but there's nothing like getting face-to-face and doing workshops. And I have been at your High Trust Sales Academy. Many of the nation's best loan officers have been there. I mean, it's truly a training experience that upgrades people. So tell us about your next one and tell us any special offers you got for the mortgage coach community.
Yeah. So thanks, Dave. The High Trust Sales Academy is the most important thing that I do. Sales Mastery is my favorite event from impacting the industry, but by far the Academy is my favorite event for impacting the individual. And so we have an event coming up in Newport Beach, California. If you are, west of Denver and you can slot this right now, we're going to give you our mortgage coach preferred investment pricing on that. But basically, we spend 4 days together. I walk you through a 350-page playbook on how to do much of what you've seen validated on this quick call that we've had today. We spend a day on life mastery. We spend a day on time and business mastery. We spend a day on relationship mastery, and we spend a day on client mastery. It is a 350-page playbook that becomes your workbook and your strategy book for the next several years, if not your career. And we only allow 125 people there. And so spacing is fairly limited. But what we are doing for the mortgage coach community is we are taking the $4,000 retail price down to $2,300. We value you guys. We want to give you the best kind of group pricing that we offer in the marketplace. So if you would like to just do a mid-year ramp up and for all that you have done in your career to this point to be as successful as you are, if you would like to take that to the next level, then you should try to figure out how to be there. If you take a look at this quote on the right, thank you, Todd. My entire team has now been through the High Trust Sales Academy. Cindy, who has averaged 1 to 1.5 million a month for the past 3 to 4 years, is on fire. Just 90 days after attending the Academy, she will fund $3.2 million in September. So this is last year. So if you look at this, what is that? 100%, more than 100% improvement in funded volume in 90 days. So how much is that worth? It's priceless because it's going to give you the life and the business of your dreams. How much is it worth economically? You do the math real quick. So we're gonna have that, Dave. You'll have a special link that you can send out to everybody, or you can highlight down below left-hand side. Call the toll-free number 866-245-2208. Tell them that you're a mortgage coach loyalist. And one of our high trust advisors will walk you through how to register. Again, Newport Beach, Fashion Island, California. So I would guess anybody that is west of Denver, certainly anybody in Nevada, Arizona, Washington, Portland, Oregon. Simple decision right now. There's still hotel rooms available, but we will cap it at 125. So thanks, Dave, for letting me just pitch that a little bit. It is by far the most amazing thing we do. And it's a 4-month program, 4 days with me, and then 3 months of accountability after that first month of implementation. We do the accountability online. So it's pretty cool.
Cool. Well, guys, I'm a huge fan of this. I think it's a very important skill-based training opportunity to change how you show up. Your why, like why do I do the mortgage business, will change. Your tactics and skills about how you approach it will change. And again, just countless numbers of mortgage coaches, people that kill it at the highest level. I just put a link to my interview with Giuseppe Badalani down in the interview. He's been through it. Just countless mortgage coach pros have been through this training experience. So check it out. Looks like Todd Bookspin has. So Todd, you were down to 1 minute. Give us a win by noon closing, and let's wrap up today's mastermind.
I'm going to make this super quick. First off, I'm telling you that when I made the decision to attend the High Trust Sales Academy, I made it less than a week before. I probably got the last space that was available at the time. And I would tell you that probably one of the biggest things I ever did, if not the biggest thing to change my trajectory in the industry. So thank you, Todd. And I would just tell you, if you're thinking about this or on the fence, don't be. just book the hotel, book the plane ticket and go. And I don't even care if you're on the East Coast. I think that it's totally worth your time and your investment, especially with the offer that Todd is giving. So I can't, endorse it enough. Number two thing I would say is your action plan really is to today rewatch this interview. I mean, you guys always want scripts, you always want systems, you always want ideas how to work with realtors, how to improve your day, right? Todd just gave them to you and they're there. And so you got to watch this video again, and then you need to pick one strategy that you are going to implement by next week. And I would say you should be implementing it by Monday, maybe Tuesday at the latest, if you don't have time to work on it over the weekend or before Monday. But the bottom line is one of those 4 strategies that Todd laid out is going to add more volume to your pipeline during the spring buying season. And he laid out really the roadmap to do it, gave you the scripts, gave you the ideas. You just have to make the time, right? You have to schedule the time, right? What's scheduled gets done. Todd talked about daily disciplines. He talked about non-negotiables. And that's what, I talk about each and every day. So it's an honor as always to be here with you, Todd. And, Dave, I appreciate the opportunity to wrap it up, but that's more than a minute. And that's what I'm going to say. But hopefully you guys will be there in California, the Duncan team.
Amen.
So guys, and when you do it by Monday or Tuesday, remember, you don't need to schedule this 2 weeks out. Win by noon. Do it by noon. So Mr. Duncan, brother, I appreciate you making time to prepare for this call.
Yeah.
Because I know when you do something like this, you give it your all. So thanks for the prep, and then thanks for the hour of time in the community. Super grateful for you, brother. Lastly, everybody watching this, if you got a takeaway, if you got some value, give us a like down below. Share this with your mortgage friends. If you're watching this and you're a manager, I think you should schedule a branch meeting and rewatch it with your team. And maybe don't watch the whole thing. Just watch one of the strategies. Like this may be too much for a branch meeting, but bring this back to your branch. And hope that a few of you take the offer that Todd gave, and please report back your success. Anyone that goes to that and gets value from it, I want to hear about it. Take care, everybody. Have an awesome weekend.
See you guys.
All right. Great seeing you all.